Almer McKerlie was inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame in 1997. That was year one for the Hall. Almer, congratulations on your induction. I find this hard to believe that you didn't start playing baseball until you were 21 years old.
No,
Why?
There just was no baseball. We didn't have it in the school. There just was no baseball around.
And then a few years later, a scout from the St. Louis Cardinals saw you play during a tryout camp in Winnipeg and signed you to a pro contract in June of 1948 for $165 a month. You must have thought you were in baseball heaven.
I did at that time.
Tell us about spring training in St. Petersburg and about that.
Well, the first 2 weeks I thought I was at a track meet. I didn't think it was at a baseball camp, because all we done was calisthenics and running. Mm-hmm. And it was, I left here when it was 30 below. When I got down there, it was 85 above.
How was that adjustment to the weather?
Oh, my feet were blistered. Everything I had was blistered.
You had a chance to play with one of the great Cardinals of all time, Stan Musial.
Yeah.
Talk about seeing him in a Cardinal uniform.
Well, he was quite a character. There was he was just a really good ball player, but there was guys that were more characters than what Musial was. This Shandish he was a character.
A collision at home plate in spring training ended your major league dreams as you suffered a shoulder injury. Were you devastated, or what kind of reactions did you have, and how did you handle it when it happened?
I kind of thought that maybe they didn't use me too good over it, because I was just crippled up. And before I had the injury, I got blood poisoning, and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. So I lost 2 weeks of spring training before I ever got in shape.
Mm-hmm. Did you think you should have had another chance, or maybe did they just say, you know what, this is it?
Well, the biggest thing is I was a Canadian, and they just didn't want nothing to do with Canadians.
Really?
No.
Even if you're talented enough?
No, they didn't want nothing to do with Canadians. And another thing, when I had to take out my passport, I had to give them my right age, and when they found out I was 23, they didn't feel that I had enough years left to really start me. Like if I could have started like the kids nowadays do at 14.
And especially with all that's involved with the coaching part.
Yeah.
You had a chance to manage a single-A class ball team in Minneapolis, but turned that down. Talk about that chance.
Well, the reason I turned it down is because we were expecting our first daughter, and I wasn't really comfortable with taking her down there. We didn't know what the health facilities were and this kind of stuff.
You began a 40-plus year career playing, coaching, umpiring right here in southern Manitoba. Talk about picking that up and just running with the game.
Well, as far as coaching was concerned, I started with 14-year-olds. Really good bunch of kids. And then I went to kids, young fellows that were 18 to 21. and I would say that Miami had as good an amateur ball club as I've ever seen. They weren't a big heavy hitting club, but they made no mental errors. If they got a run, they can hold it.
Talk about your playing career.
Well, I really my playing career started with Terry Hines. They brought him out to Miami. The hotel keeper out there knew Terry Hines, and they had a tournament in Miami, so they brought him out. And I had played a lot of softball and that. And in fact, I just came back from the horses that spring, and I think the tournament was in June, and they got Terry to come out. He was a pitcher, and they had nobody to catch. So you know who got stuck for it, and it went from there. In fact, I think it was about 50 years from the date that I was inducted, from the time that I first caught Terry Hines.
What was it like standing at home plate waiting for a pitch from Baseball Hall of Famer Satchel Paige when the two of you met in the Mandak League game? Talk about that experience.
Well, Satchel, I don't know how old he was then, but he had 3 speeds, faster than one out of sight. And he was such a gangy-looking creature. He had feet on him about that long. His arms hung down below his knees. I think we got 2 or 3 hits off him. I really think he hit the bats, because I don't think anybody hit the ball in the forehead.
You were a member of the inaugural induction class of 1997. How special was that day in Brandon with so many family members and friends and attendants?
That's actually that was the top of the line.
That'd be a fun day reminiscing with all the people.
And at that time too, there were some of the like fellow like Ian Lowell. It was just if he was around today, Ian would be in the major leagues. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But he was even gone at the time, so it really made you think just how lucky you are to be there alive.
That's right. Almer, congratulations, and it was a thrill to reminisce about your great baseball career. Almer McKerlie was inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame in 1997. I'm Clayton Dreger.